Good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do the usual disclaimers, if you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC so-called Behavior Modification Program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, NeuroClastic refused. You know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please utilize your headphones. Trigger warning 2. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is advised, alright? Okay, where we left off. Further, FDA has provided the public, including affected entities and individuals, years of notice. Years, folks. Literally a decade. Literally, well, almost a decade, starting 2014, all the way to 2020. Almost a full decade for people to come forward and have their comments and say so. In fact, that's why we're going through these idiotic comments. Right? Yeah, that. As well as meaningful opportunities to participate in the process and present evidence and views regarding the ban. Problem with that is all the JRC's so-called evidence is so abysmally bad that you can't even really do anything with it. You can't compare it to alternative treatments that have years of data and research to back it up with proper clinical studies with proper controls in place, because the JRC does not know how to conduct a proper clinical study to save its own soul. Good God, they're bad. Just bad. Holy crap. Therefore, in regards to their so-called evidence in regards to how well the devices work, the only thing that they're actually able to prove is that by shocking someone within an inch of their life, they might stop the behavior that they're engaged in at the moment. As always, I will use the analogy, if I'm getting ready to have a meltdown, or I'm in a behavior, and someone punches me in the face, it's probably going to shock me out of whatever that behavior is. That doesn't mean that I need to have someone punch me in the face every time one of my not so fun autistic traits come out to play. Alright? But that's literally all the JRC can prove. That's literally it. That's all. They cannot prove longevity of the changes. They cannot prove whether the so-called improvements are actually from the device or the other part of the treatment program that they are so-called running concurrently with the device, using it as a quote-unquote supplement, it literally proves nothing. And the so-called evidence that supports their insanity is so old as to be absolutely worthless. So, yeah, that. The FDA first notified the public that it was considering a ban on ESDs for SIB or AB on March 14th, 2014. Like I said, it was literally a decade ago. We're in 2024. It is now literally been a damn decade. Although not required by statute, FDA then held the panel meeting to discuss issues relating to the potential ban of these devices. Many of us had to write in. I had to write in. A lot of folks that are out with the Southwest region, People's First, had to write in, and the other disability groups out here, ARC, Nova. I think even Burl got in on it, but don't quote me on that. It's kind of been a long moment since all of that was going on, and believe me, a lot of things have gone on since then. So yeah, just say it is all. They didn't necessarily have to do this, but they wanted to do it as a gesture of transparency and fairness, which is why we are going through these ridiculous comments and tearing them apart, because they wanted to show impartiality. It is not the FDA's fault that the JRC's so-called evidence is abysmally bad. Not their fault. Okay? That's not bias, that's facts. There's a difference between the two. I know the rest of the world seems to have forgotten that fact, but they are distinctly different. The FDA opened a public docket for this meeting, received hundreds of written comments from a wide variety of stakeholders, including JRC residents and their relatives, and provided an opportunity for verbal testimony, which was utilized by former JRC residents, and relatives of the current and former JRC residents. The FDA then issued a proposed rule to ban ESDs for SIB or AB in April 25th, 2016, on which we received over 1,500 comments. Now, I want you all to realize that when they did that proposed rule to ban, they literally waited till 2020 to utilize it. 2020, folks. And when COVID hit, they actually put off the ban of the device during COVID. That's when I jumped back into the fight, because to realize that they were still shocking the kids in spite of the ban because of COVID, and the fact that they received millions of dollars in federal aid. The JRC received actual federal COVID aid. To say I was pissed, disgusted, and heartbroken would be an absolute understatement. Once again, Les, I don't know if you guys still watch this channel, but Les, who used to be from Spiritually Empowered Coaching, and I think she's changed the name of her channel. I can't recall it right now, folks. I'm kind of brain dead from working today, but she was really there and kind of helped me get my head straight and back in the game. But yeah, there was that too. So we waited from 2016 all the way to 2020 before the FDA finally finalized the ban, to only have it be turned over a year later. a year later. We didn't even have a chance to sit in that victory and plan next steps to get this place utterly closed down before we were already back to square one all over again. So they had a lot of time to produce evidence on their behalf in regards to this device. They had an obnoxiously long period of time. In fact, most folks from the medical model, hell, even Big Pharma that you all are so terrified of, do not have the time that the JRC was given to provide proof in regards to their medicines working. The JRC was given almost at least a couple of years there to provide proof in regards to what they are stating with their full chest. And we've all seen what kind of proof they were able to produce. It was ridiculous. So once again, this is not bias. It's just facts. The facts, the science, literally the entirety of the medical model, with all its holes and systemic ableism that it is riddled with, stand against the JRC. Okay? Literally. The worldwide medical model. Internalize this. Think about it for a moment. Is saying no. That's not bias. Okay? Not even remotely. But in an effort of transparency, the JRC has painstakingly gone through his comments, readdressing the same issues that the JRC just reworded and put up as though they're brand new comments over and over and over again, testing the patience of even a saint. And that's it. There's no bias. Nobody from the FDA targeted the JRC. Nothing that the FDA is doing is imparting guilt to parents or anyone else. They're just trying to ban a device that has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to provide risks of harm or injury to a child. That's all they're doing, which is literally their government mandate. It's why they exist. And we are going to go ahead and close out on that one. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So folks, you know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to utilize the comments. I appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you all again in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.